when she won in the Asian Championship. Miu Hirano was the most aggressive player I've seen, man or woman, in terms of timing off the bounce. She's one of two very young Japanese players to be causing some waves in the world. And there's a lot of pressure riding on Japan. They've had a lot of financial support and resources. Of course, 2020 Tokyo, the Olympic Games coming up, is one major target that country after country, national associations have their eyes and hearts set on. Since it will be held in Japan, the Japanese table tennis teams will have a lot of pressure to deliver. Japan pretty much dominating outside of the top 4 spots from the Chinese players. If you look at the top 30 women in the world, there are more Japanese players than any other nationality there. And there are tons of women competing for an opportunity to play at the Olympic Games. She's clearly at a disadvantage here. Chun Soo-Yu's injury, I'd be shocked if she finishes the match. Just the way she started that first point, you could see there was a gaping hole on the forehand side and she could do nothing to cover it. She wants to play. Beautiful strawberry receive. Miu Hirano getting around the outside of the ball, playing it deep to the middle of the table. We see more and more Japanese women using this receive. Miyu Kato, the strawberry farmer. Mima Ito, quite effective with it as well.
Let to love.
Even her reaction time to show let. Miu Hirano's hand was so fast. So this is an interesting tactic. You have to imagine that Miu Hirano's quite aware of the injury on the other side. That footwork is going to be a disadvantage for Chun Soo-Yu. This is tough. It looked like she's dragging her left leg, hopping off to the right-hand side, and a valiant effort, a good point. But as an injured player, starting the match injured is one thing. I mean, finishing a match is one thing, but starting a match injured, a lot of players, just for sake of long-term health and future in their career, will opt out of doing it.
1-3.
It's tough to sit out a match when you've had such a beautiful victory, such an impressive performance in what could be your breakthrough tournament. Oh, but what a combination. Flips like that and then a down-the-line shot. She does this pretty much on one leg. Watch the flip one more time. Shallow on the table, clear short ball. Sends Miu Hirano chasing, leaves open the backhand side. Well, what do you know? Tied up, the first point of the game, and I was quick to say this is going to be over. I wouldn't be surprised to see a default, to see her back out. But then she comes back. So as an injured player, generally, you want to finish the points as quick as possible. From a receive or a flip to a powerful shot down the line. Many table tennis players know this experience when you have a team match, so you can't just forfeit. And there it is again, over the table. Going to be very aggressive. If not, it's going to be very short, and the follow-up shot will be aggressive. But if she has to play 3 shots in a rally, Chun Soo-Yu, I think Miu Hirano is going to win a very high percentage of those long rallies.
Left, 3-4.
Now, Miu Hirano in the last round played Sweden's Matilda Ekholm. In game 1, Matilda Ekholm won quite steadily. After that, it was never the same. Look at these shots. Chun Soo-Yu turning to get a forehand in and play one more. But again, playing it parallel, can't afford to get into the long rally. She's playing to finish the point early. Right idea, not easy, but she plays it deep on the table to the middle. From the baseline of the table, if Chun Soo-Yu tries to keep it short, it's going to be trouble. This is true of most players, of course. Have to get in early. But again, core strength and the legs. Miu Hirano. Oh, the flash, good. Good call. There was one fan in the crowd who had a flash on a cell phone that just kept shining right in the eyes of the players. I was surprised no one said anything. Well, good for Miu Hirano. Saying, you know what? I need to see.
5 all.
One of the most important ingredients in table tennis is seeing. Typically, the players are quite able to see the ball. So 2 points in a row after the light change from Miu Hirano. Kick serve, shovel deep into the backhand. This is smart play as well. I think Miu Hirano had recognized that with the leg injury, her opponent's tactics are to come in for that short forehand flip. If it happens twice, the early shots in rallies, it's tough for Miu Hirano not to notice. Outstanding points.
5-7.
Again, to get in early and then play one more big shot. Chun Soo-yu, I'd love to see that one again. Really tested out there. Now, in terms of injuries, at a professional level, players really don't want to let the opponent know of their injury. The flash again. The crowd is very vocal here. They basically have Miu Hirano's back right now. Didn't say anything until Miu Hirano said something. And they will do her dirty work. Miu Hirano asks once. Her posse of 500 fans will ask the second and third time. By 500 fans, I mean here in the stadium. Probably well more than that, actually. I think that's an underestimation. Stadium quite full here. So a bit of a turnaround. I think it was 5-3 for Chun Soo-yu. Then 1 out of the next 6 points has gone to the player from Taipei.
Net. 8-6. Net. 8-6.
Oh, a service error.
7.
It happens. But the crowd's reaction just shows you how shocking it can be when at this level. Look at this.
8-7.
I think Miu Hirano looks so cool on that serve. The body language, the way she comes into it. But there's a lot of pressure to keep it low to the net.
7.
This is a good combination, especially against someone who's got a weak leg out there. Bring her in on the forehand side, play it deep to the backhand side. And the forehand flip does not land. 3 game points for Miu Hirano to take the first. You know, Chun Soo-yu's been trying that shot. I think she's making the right decisions out here. You can't make them all. Second serve here, 3 game points. And Miu Hirano quick off to the towel box. Asa, and she's over in the corner with her coach. This will be interesting. We'll see if Chun Soo-yu can fight back. First game to Hirano. Game 2 coming up right after this.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, nice little matchup there, of course. Game number 1, won by Japan. And of course, we look forward to more action coming up in this quarterfinal round. And ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder about flash photography. Please do not use flash photography when the players are on the field playing. All right, we don't want to distract them. We don't want to give them any reason to feel uncomfortable. We want them to do their best, ladies and gentlemen. Am I right? All right, so please, ladies and gentlemen, no flash photography Also, we ask that you please remain seated during the course of the games. Of course, we get excited for our favorite athletes. Of course, we wanted to scream and jump and shout, but please keep our outbursts in check while the athletes are on the field. We want them to have a good one. So on to game number 2.
So here we are, game number 2 coming up. You could hear the enthusiastic response of the crowd here. They're all very much into the match. Miu Hirano trying to keep the core loose. Sure, her waist is ready to turn. Turning that waist, one of the key ingredients to transferring the power from the ground and the feet through the legs up to the wrist. Game number 2, defending champion to serve.
1 love.
It is interesting when you think about the size of some of these players. Chun Soo-yu, the bigger of the 2 players, but Miu Hirano, not especially intimidating by size. There was a white towel left over by the coach's corner. Chun Soo-yu saying that's a bit distracting to see the white thing behind the ball. Completely understandable.
Love 2.
I was going to say, though, that some of the best players in the world from Japan are quite small in stature, but generate a lot of power. It's not because they're massive, it's because they're quick and they've learned how to use their body, learn all the parts of their body together.
Love 3.
This is a good plan for Chun Soo-yu to get Miu Hirano behind the table. It's going to mean that Miu Hirano can't dictate with wide shots back and forth. She's going to have a more predictable, more acute angle. But when she's in right near the back of the table, that's exactly what she can do. Play it wide. Not a point yet for Chun Soo-yu. This is Chun Soo-yu knowing she can't push off with her left leg the way she normally would. Taking it easy, but not defaulting the match. I don't know if taking it, I'd say taking care, playing mindfully.
4
First point, Chun Soo-yu on the board. Started a little slow in game 1, too, but then quickly tied it up. First towel break of the game. Miu Hirano dropping 2 points in a row. So I'll be curious to see. I've seen a lot of players play through injuries. Sharath Kamalachanta of India beating Simon Gozi, the World Championships in Suzhou 2015 after a leg injury. And he did the same thing we see Chun Soo-yu doing, strong flips, 1 or 2 shots to finish the rally. Just too strong, Miu Hirano in these counters. Backhand and forehand, Chun Soo-yu. I think her backhand's going to be a little bit stronger than her forehand out here, especially in the deep on the table rallies, mostly because the forehand is going to take more strength from the ground and from the legs to turn. While her right leg is a little bit stronger from a balance standpoint, she just won't be able to recover, as you can see here. Again, no matter what happens in this match, Chun Soo-yu with a heroic comeback against Du Hoi Kim, one of the few players who's beaten Liu Shiwen in recent years who's not from the Chinese national team. Nice change. Parallel shot with the backhand and deep to the backhand corner to follow up. Chun Soo-yu looking for patterns. The step around forehand is going to be pretty much taken off the table, no pun intended. Chun Soo-yu will not have that shot in her repertoire. She tries there, starts to turn, but knows that if it comes back down the line, she just won't even be able to chase it.
Left 6-3.
So that's what it looks like when Chun Soo-yu chases the wide forehand. She tries to do it conservatively there. She's not just slapping at the ball to try to finish the point. She's trying to keep it in play with good placement and get back. can see it takes a toll on her left leg when she comes back to the wide backhand after being out on the wide forehand corner. Long serve and the follow-up counter attack for the point. It's another way to quickly get into the rally. Saw some local players in the United States growing up who would serve long almost consistently to get into the rally. At this level, it's pretty rare to see long serves more than just every once in a while. Almost always you'll see half-long serves, something where the receiver doesn't know if the ball will come off the table or not, forcing some hesitation out of the receiver, creating a weaker receive and setting up the third ball that the server would like. Oh, and a service error.
8-4.
It's part of the game. Both sides have done it already in this match, and I think there's a little bit more pressure on Chun Soo-Yu to make a very specific serve, just because she really needs to make it count to finish the point early. Ooh, loaded with spin. Now, if you can't keep the ball short on a receive, giving it a bit of extra spin, we see this on both the men's and women's side of the sport. Pretty deceptive amount of spin. It's coming in with the racket head up, right under the ball quickly, short stroke motion. Miyu Hirano off the net and out. Deep thoughts here, 4-point differential, Hirano in the lead. Now we'll talk about this, I think, in the next game, but Chun Soo-Yu had a similar pattern earlier today.
6-9.
Long serve with a scary third ball, forehand attack waiting for Miyu Hirano. Waiting behind the door. Halloween weekend here. And the haunts of a third ball from Chun Soo-Yu's forehand could be chilling. Oh, man.
10-6.
Right down the line and countered back. Beautiful anticipation and footwork from Miyu Hirano. That was some serious speed. Watch this one more time. It's almost a no-look shot from Miyu Hirano, just getting her head way out to the forehand side and hitting it behind her. 4 game points for the defending champion. Backhand to finish 11-6. An even more dominant performance than in game 1. Defending champion Japanese Miyu Hirano out to a 2-0 lead. Players will talk to their coaches in game 3 coming up right after this.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Great action right here at the Pan Am Center in Markham. Another win by Miyu Hirano of Japan. Do we have any Japanese supporter in the audience today? Japan supporters, where are you? Let me see some hands. I want to see the hands of Japan. I see the Japan flag. Raise it high, raise it proud. Yeah, well done. So we got the Japan fans and the China fans. And of course, we just have great fans of the wonderful sport of table tennis.
Time.
Game 3 is upon us. Enjoy.
Back for game number 3. Miyu Hirano not only with a coach, but with the notebook. This is something that we see, and I'm not talking about the Ryan Gosling film. She has a notebook filled with notes for tactics to bring out against her opponent here. She puts in her time and prep work, prepares for the specific opponent, but also has mantras, reminders of what works best, what to do in what cases. Ai Fukuhara was quite big on this, Mima Ito as well, especially when they're playing against fellow Japanese players. No coach in the corner, but they'll go to their notebook and they'll get nice and prepped. So it's a combination for the very well-studied Miyu Hirano, also very well studied by the Chinese national team after being the first Asian champion in a long time. Asian champion of the women's singles event. First time since 1998 that it was not China. of help up the top of the net, but Chun Soo-yu's chasing. So I mentioned earlier that I'd talk about it as we came back. Chun Soo-yu against Do Hoi Kim plays the first 3 games of the match, losing them all, and says, you know what, enough of this, forget my leg. I'm gonna play my heart out. I'm gonna give it everything I can, and then I'll ice it down. If I have to go to the doctor, take some time to recover later. But I'm giving everything in this match. She wins 4 games in a row.
1-3.
Now, Do Hoi Kim is a very strong player, but Miyu Hirano in the last year of her life has taken the world by storm. Maybe that's part of the reason they call her the Hurricane. Quick down the line play, but Miyu Hirano's backhand cross court. It's got Chun Soo-yu scratching her head for what tactics it's going to take. Even though she's late to get to that forehand, she bounces right back into position well.
5-1.
First towel break. The right leg is the strong one. No question about it. The tape, the bandage out there. It's going to be when she moves to the backhand side and then going to the forehand that's going to be trouble for Chun Soo-yu. Oh.
6-1.
Oh, that must have been the top of the net. I thought it nicked the edge of the table. But neither player confirming that. So Miyu Hirano up 6-1 now.
Play, please.
Miyu Hirano does tend to take her time before serves. Wouldn't be surprised if in the future of table tennis there will be rules really limiting the time between points.
2-6.
Keeping the game moving for spectators at home. Miyu Hirano was warned earlier against Matilda Ekholm as well.
2-7.
And it just goes to show you how important the specifics are from shot selection and, of course, serve selection. When you are in the driver's seat, you have the serve. You get to dictate how the rally starts. You can do whatever you want within the rules for the very first shot of the rally. After that, the receiver doesn't know exactly what's coming.
7-3.
Heavy push once again, 4-point differential, Chun Soo-yu. Down and now on the receive. Miyu Hirano trying to keep that neck loose out there, rolling the head around a little bit. A lot of kick on that serve. Side and top spin from the shovel serve. Chun Soo-yu can play this ball to the middle of the table with a flip. Might be a bit more effective, but much easier said than done. One thing that most of the professional players have in common is they have quite handcuffing serves, not leaving a lot of options for the receiver.
4-8.
Good movement, Chun Soo-yu. Keeping the pressure on. Second towel break of the game. Miyu Hirano's there first by a lot. Slow walk back to the table for Chun Soo-yu, and no towel break needed. She's going to stay focused on her serve tactics here. Now, if Chun Soo-yu can start her comeback before game number 4, it would definitely help her chances. But it didn't seem to bother her in the last round. Strawberry goes long. The strawberry has fallen off the table, and it's a timeout. The smoothie is getting messy out here. 3 points between them. Look at this shot. That's how it's done. Sometimes you'll see again with Miyu Kato and Simone Gauzy, 2 of the best at this shot. It's the opposite of the banana, the stroke that has become quite common in the men's game. And within the women players, Do Hoi Kim is actually one of a handful of women that uses it regularly. It's where a player comes in over the table, typically on the forehand side with the backhand, and then turns their wrists sideways, putting heavy side and top spin on the ball. So the path of the ball, the path of travel, is that of a banana. So double coach here, the notebook and the coach. A lot to concentrate on. Now, when Miu Hirano improves as quickly as she does, but the Chinese team comes back to discover how to beat her, right after that, she's going to have to up her game once again as well to stay on top. So don't forget, you can connect with us on social media, ITTF.com, hashtag ITTF World Cup for anything you post related, and at ITTF World on Instagram, Twitter, maybe the Snapchat. But a lot of good stuff out there. Official ITTF YouTube channel as well. From highlight videos to fun interviews and everything else. Make sure after tonight's over, you're caught up for tomorrow. Just stretched too thin after all that work to come back. This tactic to get into the longer rally in the exchanges corner to corner, deep to the backhand and then wide out to the forehand. That's going to be the toughest one on that left leg. Now, like you at home, I'm watching the screen, but sometimes when I hear the crowd start to make some noise and mutter, I look around the stadium to see what's going on.
6-10.
Well, this was instant gratification so far since the timeout. 2 points, and now 4 game points for the Hurricane and the defending champion, Miu Hirano. Corner to corner, it works. This is as absolute and as quick as a timeout pays off. 3 points in a row. When she won in the Asian Championship, Miu Hirano was the most aggressive player I've seen, man or woman, in terms of timing off the bounce. She's one of 2 very young Japanese players to be causing some waves in the world. Now, there's a lot of pressure riding on Japan. They've had a lot of financial support and resources. Of course, 2020 Tokyo, the Olympic Games coming up, is one major target that country after country, national associations have their eyes and hearts set on. Since it will be held in Japan, the Japanese table tennis teams will have a lot of pressure to deliver. Japan pretty much dominating outside of the top 4 spots from the Chinese players. If you look at the top 30 women in the world, there are more Japanese players than any other nationality there. And there are tons of women competing for an opportunity to play at the Olympic Games. She's clearly at a disadvantage here. Chun Tzu-Yu's injury, I'd be shocked if she finishes the match. Just the way she started that first point, you could see there was a gaping hole on the forehand side and she could do nothing to cover it. She wants to play. Beautiful strawberry receive. Miu Hirano getting around the outside of the ball, playing it deep to the middle of the table. We see more and more Japanese women using this receive. Miyu Kato, the strawberry farmer. Mima Ito, quite effective with it as well.
Let to love.
Even her reaction time to show let. Miu Hirano's hand was so fast. So this is an interesting tactic. You have to imagine that Miu Hirano's quite aware of the injury on the other side. That footwork is going to be a disadvantage for Chun Tzu-Yu. This is tough. It looked like she's dragging her left leg, hopping off to the right-hand side, and a valiant effort, a good point. But as an injured player, starting the match injured is one thing. I mean, finishing a match is one thing, but starting a match injured, a lot of players, just for sake of long-term health and future in their career, will opt out of doing it.
1-3.
It's tough to sit out a match when you've had such a beautiful victory, such an impressive performance in what could be your breakthrough tournament. Quite a fan club here. And there's a large Chinese-speaking community here in Markham, Canada. A lot of Mandarin speakers, a lot of Cantonese speakers as well.
3-1.
But I think what it really comes down to for Chun Soo-yu is that magical comeback against Do Hoi Kim. The points that those two players produced earlier today. Just incredible. Instant fan club for Chun Soo-yu. From below the table, Miu Hirano's spin shot. She tries to keep it low. Again, when you've got someone who's finishing the rallies that quickly, trying to anyway, it's much like Georgina Pota's flat hit. If you arc the ball up from below the table and it's not low enough, prepare for a flat attack right down your throat. Oh, service error number 2. It's the first towel break of the game, and Miu Hirano has allowed her opponent to come back and tie it up. At the very top of the net there. That shovel serve comes in all shapes and sizes. Different locations on the table.
4-3.
So Chun Soo-yu in the lead here. That's as wide as they come. Shot that wide, needs a sign on the back of it saying wide load. Really not a lot of room to get it past. If Chun Soo-yu isn't turning the corner, she's the taller of the two players by a bit. She's got some solid wingspan. But that type of pressure on Miu Hirano is exactly what Chun Soo-yu wants. Miu Hirano won't consistently make a shot that wide. As soon as I say it, she comes back the other way and plays it off the side of the table. If she can play shots that wide, that quickly off the bounce, I think Ju Yuling and Liu Shiwon will have a little bit more trouble with Miu Hirano than they would have with other opponents in this tournament. But again, Liu Shiwon, no trouble at the Asian Championships, not in the team's event where she played Miu Hirano.
5-all.
So this is a tough dilemma for Chun Soo-yu. She might be saying in her head, just let it go. Do everything you can, don't worry about your leg. But I mean, it was pretty bad earlier today. I was really surprised to see her continuing in the tournament. But she manages somehow to fight and tie it back up. At every towel break this game, it's been dead even. Just a little reminder, the history of this very prestigious tournament. The last 10 years of winners, Miu Hirano is the defending champion, and Liu Shiwon, who was not here last year, will be fighting for her 5th. Very rich history. Even Li Xiaoxia on that list. Ooh, the opening was there.
7.
Miu Hirano had a good opportunity. Chun Soo-yu just chasing down that forehand corner, hobbling across to try and cover it. Something between the two. Not the same limp we saw her walk off the court with after beating Do Hoi Kim. That's such an awkward ball to have to try and play behind you. When you're out of position, chasing it deep to the backhand. It's also tricky because even if Chun Soo-yu can get that ball back on the table with a lob, she's going to be almost hopeless playing defense against smashes that far behind the table. Side to side, not to her advantage. Oh, as wide as they come again. Miu Hirano baiting her out to the backhand side. Just leaving the worm on the hook, getting her to chase. There's that opening backhand, so crisp. Corner to corner, just a second late. That might be an exaggeration, just a moment late.
9-7.
And the Hurricane is spinning. She's spinning the ball to both corners, just 2 points away from a clean sweep to move on to the women's singles semifinal. This entire tournament is women's singles, so looking at the semifinal, 2 important serves here. That was that arching back, opening backhand that we saw from Chung Yi-Ching earlier today, and now 3 match points for the Hurricane, Miu Hirano. Not so fast, 3rd towel break of the game, and it is the only towel break where they are not matched and dead even in points. 2 match points left for Miu Hirano, and the crowd shouts Jai-O for Chun Soo-Yu. Go for it, add oil. Now, I did see some Japanese flags flying in here as well earlier today in the crowd, a lot of supporters. Miu Hirano is the last standing woman for Japan. And there it is, Miu Hirano takes it. The defending champion at 17 years old is still in the tournament. She moves on, and the battles will only get tougher from here on out. An outstanding tournament for Chun Soo-Yu, and facing injury, a tough way to go, but she gave it her all and definitely got a lot of fans here. But all the fans will rush down to try and meet both Chun Soo-Yu and Miu Hirano. Again, Miu Hirano in 4 straight games moves on to the next round. She'll be waiting for a winner here in the women's quarterfinals. The next match coming up will be Romania's Elisabeta Samara versus Liu
so
Shuan,
congratulations to
a
Miu
4-time
Hirano.
World Cup title holder.
How are
now
you
down to
feeling
the
in
court
that
for the
last
live
point?
interview.
最初おめでとうございました。どんなふうに思いますか、勝って。どういうふうに思いますか。
とりあえず明日に残ることができて嬉しいです。明日も絶対勝ちたいです。
She just try to concentrate for tomorrow game. That main thing, yeah.
Great. Well, as returning champ, defending champ, how are you getting prepared for tomorrow's big matchup?
去年勝った選手で、だから朝のことをどんなふうに準備してますか。
今の試合ですか。朝。明日は体調管理をしっかりして明日に向けてしっかり調整したいです。明日に向けてしっかり体の準備とかをしたいです。
She try her best, just try to concentrate her best to win the for tomorrow game. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, all your fans here agree. Best of luck to you tomorrow. Miu Hirano, make some noise for her, please.
Okay.
So you heard it there. A little bit of confusion for a moment, but Miu Hirano taking a rest and getting ready for her match tomorrow. She is done for today. She will wait and see who wins in the last 2 matches.